all the supporters and televiewers of DepEd Art Teleturuan. Welcome to Lesson 1 of the most essential learning competencies of senior high school English subjects. I'm Jenna de Guzman Fermin of San Josep National High School, your teacher presenter for this episode. In this lesson, I will present to you the things about the nature and process of communication under the oral communication in context subject for senior high school, mainly for grade 11. Are you ready? Let's start a happy learning. We will be discussing today the nature and process of communication. Before we go to the main lesson, I have a simple game for everyone. It is entitled the memory test. This is how it will work. Please listen carefully. First, I will be reading a list of words to test your memorization skill. Listen carefully as you are not allowed to write down any of the words. You will be tested later to see how many of the words you can remember. I will only say the words twice. Let's start. 1. Happiness. Happiness. 2. Pandemic. Pandemic. 3. Hope. Hope. 4. Awareness. Awareness. 5. Fast. Fast. 6. Home. Home. 7. Sleep. Sleep. 8. Mall. Mall. 9. Quarantine. Quarantine. And last one, 10. Survive. Survive. I hope you remember everything. Now, can you think of what are the things you have realized about life and yourself in these past months? And when you have experienced being in your house because of the enhanced community quarantine? Wow, that's nice. I hope everyone is safe and doing their part for us to survive the challenge about COVID-19 that we are facing right now. Next, learners. Please write down as many words as you can remember from the list of the words I have given you earlier. Some might find it difficult to remember the list of somewhat random words, especially when we had another discussion in between hearing them and recalling them. Don't worry, this is reality of communication. Real-life listening can be successful or not, because one should see the importance of paying attention to people when they are speaking to you. If you cannot grasp the whole meaning, you often ask the person to repeat the words again, and it is fine because it is how communication should be. Communication had always been defined as the exchange of messages between the sender and receiver where feedback can be obtained. According to McCornack of 2014, communication is a process of sharing and conveying message or information from one person to another within and across channels, contexts, media, and cultures. There is a wide variety of contexts and situations in which communication can be manifested. It can be face-to-face interaction, a phone conversation, a group discussion, a meeting or interview, a letter correspondence, a class recitation, and many more. Basically, we should know why communication is very important in community, especially to us individuals. With this, we should familiarize ourselves about the nature of what communication is all about. Let's see the nature of communication. Number 1, communication is a process. We have to understand that communication is a process wherein it cannot be done properly if the entire steps will not be completed. Second nature of communication. Communication is an interaction. There can never, I repeat, there can never be a form of communication if there is no interaction at all, whether between two different people, among group of people, or even interaction within yourself. The third nature of communication is that communication can be expressed in different forms. We can communicate or share our thoughts through verbal or non-verbal means. We can send messages through verbal communication where you are able to deliver spoken words just like what we are communicating today. When your parents talk to you today, or to give advice on how to be safe at home or how to do your household chores today. On the other hand, we can also communicate through nonverbal means such as written and actions such as signals and gestures. Just like when you are typing your messages to your friends via chat boxes online. As you are not allowed to meet them outside or simply by tapping the shoulder of your family members, which can mean encouragement, which says that we can survive this pandemic. There are so many ways on how to communicate or convey your ideas to other people. There are also times where there can be both verbal and nonverbal cues. One should be creative and resourceful enough for us to understand fully the good thing about communication. For us to better understand the nature of communication as a process, let us discuss first the elements of communication that are all important details and the reasons why we can communicate successfully every day. Communication is divided into elements, which helps us better understand its mechanics or process. These elements are the following. The first one is the speaker. This element is the source of information or message. In our case, being the teacher presenter today, I am acting as your speaker or source of information right now, in attempt to have a communication with you learners. However, the success of our communication today will be verified later. The second element is message. It is the information, idea, or thoughts conveyed by the speaker in words or in actions. As for today, can you guess what is the message I want to convey as a speaker? Yes, you got it right. I want you to learn the nature and process of communication. At this point, we will be going to discuss the third element, which is encoding. It is the process of converting the message into words, actions, or other forms that the speaker understands. When the speaker is clear what message and how it should be discussed to you, it is the time for the fourth element of communication, which is the channel. It is the medium or the means such as personal or non-personal, verbal or non-verbal, in which the encoded message is conveyed. In our case, I am trying to deliver it to you by using both spoken and written languages. However, it is not a personal channel, for we cannot have a face-to-face interaction. Those are the tasks of a speaker. 1. Decide the message. 2. Decide again how to convert the message. 3. Decide once more on what channel could be possible or effective. We will go now to the fifth element, which is the receiver. He or she is the recipient of the message, and it is someone who decodes the message. In our case, those are all of you learners. Getting the right message is very important in our conversation. This is a very crucial part. That is why the sixth element will be discussed also, which is decoding. Decoding, or the process of interpreting the encoded message of the speaker by the receiver, should always be taken seriously. However, this is not the end of the process. The receiver's role is to give feedback to ensure that communication had been successful. Feedback is our seventh element of the communication process, where it is the reactions, responses, or information provided by the receiver, which can indicate an understanding to complete the process or a misunderstanding where repeating the whole process is required until the intended message of the speaker had been grasped fully. There are also other elements such as context, the environment where communication takes place, and barrier, the factors that affect the flow of communication, which will be discussed in the upcoming lessons. Alright, so we have finished the discussion about the nature and process of communication. Please stay tuned for more discussion. We'll be right back.